Well, something fun and interesting today.
Oh, yes.
Anybody that's built a model railroad in the last 20 years knows that the current technique for building just about everything on a model railroad is to use this extruded styrene foam.
Oh my gosh, it has the Pink Panther, and that's my hero.
We are supposed to use it for building insulation.
Well, you are, but I like the Pink Panther, so it's got my seal of approval.
Well, and I love the tune, the Mancini music.
Oh, Harry Mancini was the best, right?
we digress. This building insulation comes in 2 inches thick and 1 inch thick.
Right.
And if you know where to look on Amazon, you can also find it in this size, 1/2 inch thick.
Right.
They bill it as a hobby item, and technically, I guess it is at this point.
Right. I would think this would be qualified as a hobby.
Yeah, you're not going to insulate your house with
Well,
1/2 inch thick extruded styrene
Yeah,
foam, but it's available.
if you live in a tent, that might work.
Another almost indispensable, I had to spit the word out, item is a foam cutter.
Those are neat.
They work almost exactly like a table saw. You can cut angles. You can make very accurate cuts. This is a Hercules, which is the one we have. But there's a whole bunch of different brands of this stuff.
Right.
Now, I want to use this as the flooring in the roundhouse. And so I decided to cut some 2mm slices. That's 80 thousandths of an inch. So it's quite thin, but I just want to be able to cover over the plywood to get rid of the wood texture without doing a lot of sanding and filling and everything. Just layer this on top of it, carve cement detail into it, and it should be brilliant.
Why does this remind me of slicing cheese?
Well, and like slicing cheese, you can make these very, very thin slices, and you can make them incredibly accurate with one of these cutters.
Right.
So these are exactly 2mm thick. You can see that the ends are really ragged because I just was cutting them off of a piece of the foam.
Right.
So it just has very ragged ends, so I have to trim the ends off to get those nice and square and straight. So again, very simple to do. This time I'm using the little gauge here as a miter gauge and just using it to make nice 90-degree cuts.
Boy, the things you couldn't do with those.
Isn't that amazing?
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, it's just like a table saw.
Right.
Only for foam.
Yes.
Well, I was having so much fun doing it, and I thought, boy, we can use a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Rather than just using it for the floor in the roundhouse. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make up, I don't know, 150 of these.
He got going and he couldn't quit. That was the problem.
I was just having too much fun.
Oh, yeah.
But I was after something that would look like the rails were just laid directly on the cement floor. So I didn't want too much thickness, but I wanted enough thickness that it would be easy to work with. I could have made them even thinner, but then it really would have been hard to glue it down and carve it and do anything with it. So 2mm seemed to be a really good compromise. And when I hold it up to the tracks here, you really don't notice that there's any thickness there at all. So I'm going to layer over the entire piece of plywood, which is the floor of the roundhouse, and then do it in such a way that it looks like individual pours of concrete with expansion joints in between them, and then carve in some cracks and so on and paint the whole thing to look like cement. This is the look that I'm after. This is the shops at Durango, the roundhouse at Durango.
Right.
And at Durango, the tracks are just simply bolted directly to the concrete floor.
Oh, neat.
We've seen it where the rails are recessed into the concrete, but at Durango, they're just bolted right to the concrete.
Oh, I see.
And I want this gooey, I want that look right there.
Goodness.
And so I don't want a lot of thickness in this foam. I want it to look like the rails are bolted to the concrete, not bolted to the plywood.
Right.
In some roundhouses, the tracks are actually recessed into the cement. So it's like this, where the rails are even with the foam. And where these rails are exactly 250 thousandths of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, or 6 millimeters, I thought I'm going to cut out a bunch of those. because in one place I want the rails recessed into the cement.
Right.
At the rest of the roundhouse, I want them on top of the cement. And there again, once I started cutting,
You just can't stop.
it's just too much fun.
Oh, yes.
But I kept thinking, we're going to find other uses for this stuff.
Oh, I've already got a couple of uses in mind. I'm looking at it and my brain is going wild.
But I thought having that right there, the ability, because there's going to be some street railway, there's going to be uses for this.
Right, and the texture of it almost looks like concrete.
It does.
It's purple, but we'll fix that.
So by the time I got done, we had stacks and stacks and stacks of this
Looked
stuff.
like a lumber yard.
But we'll put it in a box and we will use it.
Oh, yeah, we'll probably be cutting some more. Well, you were saying you needed brick, and I was thinking about using some of this stuff to punch out, draw brick patterns in until I remembered I have these two little gizmos. Well, three little gizmos, but the two rollers, one is brick and one is like a block type thing. So I'm thinking we can use those to roll out a pattern or two.
Yeah, these are just 3D printed.
Right,
A guy gave them to us.
right.
He made them on his 3D printer. And we've been looking at that going, huh?
What are you going to do with this? Roll out cookies or something? But hey, there it is. I'm glad I just threw them in a drawer because now we have them. So I tried it, and by golly, it works. Check this out. It makes a really nice pattern in there. It seems to hold. It doesn't puff back out or something. But I'll bet you we can paint those somehow, some way, and make your brick for your roundhouse.
Yeah, I know how to paint this to make it look like stone.
Right.
Well, outside, I painted all that mortar mix that I just carved this way, and it looks great.
It does.
So you bet we can make this is going to work for all kinds of things.
Oh, absolutely.
And like you were saying, we need brick for the roundhouse. The roundhouse is going to be made entirely out of brick, so you tried that out.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just rolling it out again. I just kind of have to push down hard on it and roll it through. I'm thinking I might have to get some gloves though, because you can feel the pattern of that roller on the bare hands.
Yeah, you don't want a brick pattern in your hands.
No, we don't need a brick pattern there.
I guess you have to push down pretty hard.
Yeah, just pretty much so. It should have some handles on it, or maybe some kind of a gizmo to twist it through, but it doesn't. It's just a roller, so I'll just get some heavy gloves.
And the key is also keep it square with the brick pattern.
Oh yes, that's fun to do.
But I can take a knife and just straighten that out. I'm just going to cut this out along the mortar lines, and that'll get rid of any irregularities from the roller sort of drifting off one direction or another.
Or just where it squishes it out a little bit, it might make it a little bit uneven.
So you know me, I like to test everything. So I grabbed one of these and I thought, I'm just going to cut one out and then paint it and put mortar in it and everything just to see what a finished version of this will look like.
Right, if it's worth doing or not.
So step one is to cut it out nice and square along the mortar lines. When we actually do it, then I'll also have to cut out a brick zipper at both ends. A zipper?
A brick zipper?
But cut out the bricks in such a way that it fits together like a zipper fits together so that you can't see that the ends, line it up again with the mortar. In this case, cutting in and out along the brick lines. But I tried pressing two of them together on the horizontal brick lines, and you can make it completely disappear.
Oh, good.
So that's going to be easy, and I'm pretty sure we can do the exact same thing with the bricks at the end.
Oh, we'll try our best.
Okay, on to painting it. So I mixed up a little red. I'm using Golden Brand. I really like Golden Brand acrylics. Cut about 2-to-1 with Vallejo airbrush thinner. I did not use their flow improver because I actually want it to get a little texture.
Right.
And the flow improver will smooth it right out. But in this case, if it picked up a little texture from the airbrush, a little sandy surface, well, that's a score.
Yeah, so much the better.
I want that. So thin coats back and forth, back and forth. I started by doing one thin coat, rotating it around, and another thin coat, and then the same thing. Reverse it back around and another thin coat again. I ended up putting about 3 coats back and forth before I got really good coverage. I didn't need a primer or anything. I just put the the acrylic paint directly over the extruded styrene foam, and that worked great. Now, as I've said in the past, my preference has always been to use lacquers, but I'm trying to get used to using acrylics.
Right.
The water-based acrylics. One downside is a lacquer dries very fast. The acrylic, I had to set it aside for 20 minutes
And
or
I
so.
hate that. That part I hate. I want it to dry fast.
Yeah, the lacquer, I could take it from the paint booth straight over to the bench and start painting.
Right.
Doing weathering and all kinds of things. But the acrylic, I have to give it 20 minutes or so to dry. With the matte colors and the flat colors, it's really easy to tell once it's dry because it glosses off. The gloss disappears.
Right, and that really looks like brick. I'm liking the look of that.
That texture is great.
Oh, it's perfect.
So now I'm going to go in with just garden variety craft acrylics, 3 bottles for $1.79.
There you go.
And then just using different brick reds, if you will, and putting those out on a paper plate and then blending those with a brush and then just skipping all over the place.
Yes.
I want everything to have a little unique texture, a little unique color, and just daubing and brushing and just getting random colors onto bricks in a random pattern.
Right. It looks really good, though. I mean, to see it up close like that, when you work on something, you get kind of your eyes paralyzed after a while. But to see it up close and personal this way, it looks pretty good.
And I'm happy with the fact that it's already looking good because once I get the mortar and some weathering over the surface, the fact that it's already looking good,
Right.
I know that this is going to work out really, really well. So the next step is now to start putting some mortar in here, and I'm going to try a couple of different techniques. In this case, I'm daubing paint down into the mortar cracks and then wiping it away. Mm-hmm. Normally what I use for this is spackle.
Right.
Patchy plastic. We don't happen to have any on hand.
Well, this might work.
So I've used paint before, and that works, but it works better with spackle. So when we do this for real on the roundhouse, if I'm going to use this technique, I'm going to just use some patching plaster.
Oh, that will work.
And you just work it down into the mortar lines, let it dry a little tiny bit, and then wipe it away, just like you do with tile grout.
All right.
And again, as we're testing, another technique that I use for mortar is to mix up some really, really dilute white or gray, and then just brush that all over the surface and let it sort of flow down into the lines this way, and then keep adding more and more dilute mix over the top of it, and then after it's set up a little bit, wipe that away. But for the most part, it'll just work itself down into the lines, and if it's thin enough, it'll just flow, and you don't really need to wipe it away at all.
Right.
And what you end up with is this.
That's pretty good.
And this is a great technique. They're
Right.
different techniques, but I love the look of this.
Right.
So I wanted to try both on this particular surface, and I think I like this one the best.
Oh, that one's great.
So this is the really dilute white and gray, just brushed on there and allowed to flow down in, and then just let it dry. As it dries, it tends to disappear. And so you might have to come back and do even more of it.
Ah.
And of course, as it dries, the glossiness disappears because we're working with flat surfaces. As it's wet, it's really glossy.
Right.
But as it dries, then the whole thing, it glosses off, the gloss disappears, and what you end up with is your finished look right there.
That looks great.
So I think this is what we're going to do for brick on the roundhouse.
I think it'll work.
And first I need to finish up a little tiny bit more gunk and cinders and weeds and stuff around the roundhouse. And then we're ready to move on to the floor.
Right.
And then the actual brick roundhouse itself.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
So fun!
Lots of possibilities.
I'm glad you thought of this as a technique.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
So we have just a little bit more to do, a little more ballast and cinders around the roundhouse, and then I have to build the electronic control panel for the turntable and the sound systems. And then we'll be moving on to the actual roundhouse, and we'll start with the cement floors. And hopefully you're all going to want to follow along with that. And so if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please subscribe. And you can do that by clicking on the upcoming blue button. Zoink! Right there, the blue button. Well, we're not sure how you found this video on the internet. We hope you didn't find it boring. And we will see you here on Sunday. We'll see you then.
We'll see ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.